Hello and welcome along to Adobe Muse Basics with your host Robert Smith. In this video we're going to introduce you to how the interface works and how we can set up a site in Muse. Now if you're coming from the print world, you'll find Muse strangely familiar. It looks like InDesign with a few different functions basically, and that's what Adobe's done. Adobe's tried to make things more drag and drop. Now if you're a coder, for example, if you like writing code, well, you head off to Dreamweaver to do all this. But what Muse is trying to do is to save you access to that code and giving you a lot of very cool functionality. So let's get stuck in. So I've just opened up Muse like this, and it's taken me to the welcome screen like all Adobe products do. And I'm ready to start. Do I want to start a new site? Yeah, I could open a new site here. But what I want to do, I'll just shut that welcome screen. We'll do it from here. Go to File, New Site like this, or Apple N. And up comes this new site dialog box. Now the first thing it's going to ask you, do you want to make a desktop site, a tablet site, or a phone site? And we'll be making those as time goes by, but we'll start off with a desktop site. Now there's a couple of words that are floating around in the web design community. One's called responsive design. That's where when you drag the corner of a website and the columns of type change, for example, they get narrower, and you've probably seen that effect. And that's good for when it's being viewed on a mobile phone. Now, as I see this, Adobe Muse takes a different approach. I call it adaptive. I think that's the term they use for it. We can actually do separate layouts for desktop, tablet, and phone, which is a really nice thing. But more of that later. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is put in a page width. Now, how long's a piece of string? When it comes to this sort of thing on the web, most desktop machines today are very capable of showing at least 1000 pixels, so we'll give it a 1000 pixel page width like that. By the way, all of these numbers are in pixels. And the minimum height, now this doesn't really matter, but I'll just type in 1000 for that as well, like that. Okay, now that'll be adjusted by the amount of content we actually put on the page, so that doesn't really matter. Now columns over here, this is all about a grid if you like, so I'm going to put in 10 columns like that. And the column width automatically calculates it for you with a gutter of 20. I might put a gutter of, yeah, that's 20 will do, like that. In other words, that's between the columns, and again that's all for layout purposes only. Now margins are something that aren't very fashionable in today's websites, and what margins means how close to the edge of the page will your website become. So I'm just going to drop all those down to 0 like that. Okay, so we can always put those back in later. And same with padding. I like to add these things later. Now what padding is, we'll talk about that later as well. And we'll just type in 0 in there and 0 in there. As long as we've got centered horizontally, that's a good thing. In other words, the page will be centered in the middle of the monitor as you move it around, which is good. Now the really tricky subject about web design is this thing down here, the resolution. Now, most modern computers, phones, tablets, they have something called retina displays. Now, retina is just a fancy word for a high definition. In other words, a lot more pixels. Now, we could work in HIDPI, which is what we normally do, but we're going to work in standard just to keep the file sizes down. Now, let's look at the pluses for both. In standard, the file size is a lot smaller, but the quality is not so good. In high def, this one here, or retina, the quality is really good, but the file size is a lot bigger, which makes for a slow download. As you can see, always a dilemma on the web. There's always an issue. So we'll just stick with standard for this series of exercises, which means we can work at 72 dots per inch in Photoshop for all our images. Okay, so I'm going to click OK and see what we've got, and it takes us to this screen here. Now if you're familiar with InDesign, you'll see something that says master down here, and that's exactly the same as a master page. And I just happen to have InDesign open, so I'll just Command Tab through to InDesign like that. Here I'm in InDesign I should say. As you can see, I've got some master pages up here, and if I was to just double click on that master page and place something on there like that, like a circle there for example, and fill it with color like that, and on my right master page over here, okay, put another circle over here like this and fill that with another color. Very Mondrian. Okay, like that. And then as I drag pages out, each one of those pages will have whatever's on that master page every time I drag one out. Now that's exactly the same in Muse. So let's go back to Muse. Command tab back like that to Muse. That's what this master page is about down here. And this page up here, it's like what's called a sitemap of pages. Now, for example, I can look at this in a couple of different ways. I can look at it in plan view, if you look up here, or in plan view now. I can look at it in design view like that, where I can see the whole page, and I can actually preview the page in what Muse has. Muse has a generic browser inbuilt. I think it's a WebKit browser. But of course, if you're going to look at your website, you really need to see it in browsers. That's the best way of checking it. So here we are in plan view. Let's just plan our website. So right now, everything's based on this A master page. So if I was to put anything on this page, it'll appear on this page here. But I want to just put the structure of my website together. We're going to be doing a 5-page website like this. So to actually add pages is very, very simple. That's my home page. If I want to rename it, I can double click on that. But I think I like the name home. I'm going to click on this. As soon as I roll over, I get these little plus signs. I'm going to click plus like that. I'm just going to type in web. We'll call this one web like that. And the next one, we'll click plus again. We'll call this one print like that. And the next one we'll call, I'm going to call it YouTube. That's where the video is going to go. And one more like this. Click on here, and I'm going to call this one contact. Now these are all going to be separate pages like this. Very nice indeed. Okay, now if I wanted to add, say, sub pages or sub menus to any of these pages, I just go down to the bottom down here, and again another plus comes up. So I click on plus. I can add pages like this, many more pages. Now to actually delete pages from this structure, I simply click on it like that, or roll over it, and you'll see a little X up the top right hand corner. I'll just click on that, and I'll get rid of that and get rid of that. So basically what I've done, I've just set up a brand new website. So I'm going to save that, Apple S or Control S. Now I'm going to save that into my Captivate videos. This is what I'm using, into my Muse folder here like that, and I'll just call it Hey Robbie, which is the name of the site. Hey Robbie Design like that, and I'll just save it in there. Okay, great. So we've got now we've set up our website. We've got 5 pages like this. We don't have any content, but let's just show you how this master page thing works. Now to get to any of these pages, I'm just going to double click on this to my master page like that, and let's just put something on there just to show you how that works, the same as it does in InDesign. Let's say I put this rectangle in here and I fill it with color like that. Very nice indeed. And then I'll go back to my plan view like this, and as you can see, every one of those pages has just inherited that red rectangle, exactly the same as InDesign. So I'm going to go out of there, double click on that, go in there and delete that. So that's basically it. We've just set up a website, and now it's time to put content on it. So let's have a look now how I can navigate around it. As you can see here, I can click on home up here, or a master like that. But I need to go back to plan view, as you see across the top here. Where you do most of the work, of course, is in design view like this. But right now in plan view, we've planned our website. We've based it on this A master page. We haven't put any content. And in the next video, we'll start to add some content to our website.